Hi, this is Aaron from My Dying Bride, and you're listening to Heavy Demons. Enjoy the show.
So, dear Aaron, we've seen a picture of you in a local brewery. Shall we expect something good to drink in the future?
I hope so, yeah. The brewery only did traditional ales, and I prefer a lager. So they've decided to experiment on creating their very first lager beer, which is quite exciting. And so I'm hoping it might even be in the next few days to get a phone call saying we have some varieties to come and choose from and see how it goes. It would have been easier to approach a brewery that already had a lager and just stick a My Dying Bride label on it. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted something to be created for My Dying Bride. Yeah. So this brewery are working hard on creating a whole new drinking experience. I'm working on the artwork as well. So it's nice, amusing thing. It's not a necessity, but yeah, there's some My Dying Bride beer coming in the future.
Yeah, that's something unique.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's quite good fun, actually. We're working on wine as well, because I like wine and I like beer.
Yeah. Well, talking about art, how was your exhibition at the Alternative Fashion Show in Leeds last October?
It was great fun. It wasn't really my exhibition. My pictures were there on the walls, but it was a kind of fashion and music show. And there's some very unusual fashion going on, and it was a lot of fun. I've never really done anything like that before, and it's good fun, and if somebody wants my artwork to adorn their space, I can do that, and that was a good chance to do it. So yeah, a lot of fun actually.
30 years have come and gone since the beginning of this My Dying Bride adventure, 14 albums and still counting. Hard times, challenges, creativity never fading. Which are your feelings about these first 3 decades of My Dying Bride?
Yeah, I mean, I never imagined we would ever last this long, because when we formed, we liked doom metal and we liked death metal, and I liked some gothic music as well. So I wanted to try and introduce all 3 elements into one band. And that's quite a gamble, because the doom fans might hate you because you're too death metal, and the death metal fans might hate you because you've got too much doom metal. Yeah. And it was a risk, but it seemed to pay off. We're still here 30 years later, so I guess we got the mix just right. So we play doom festivals, we play death metal festivals, we play black metal festivals, and we play goth festivals. So we're lucky. We span everything really, which is good for us. And yeah, we set ourselves the usual goals you would expect when you're a band. We did a demo tape. We wanted to release something on vinyl, and we did that. Of course, we wanted to be signed to a record label, and we managed to get that done in the first couple of years. And then to go into a record store and actually see your record in there, because obviously our band begins with M. We're quite close to Metallica, and it's great to see your CD near Metallica's in the music stores. So that was wonderful. And then we wanted to play in Europe, and we did that. And we were lucky; we ticked off a lot of goals earlier on in our careers. So very happy with everything we've done. And you know what, Mickey? We've never had a manager. Myself and Andrew have managed the band. So when you consider that, then I am super proud of all the things that we've achieved, because we call the shots, we make the decisions. If we get it wrong, we take it on the chin. If we get it right, we reap the rewards. So that's the way it works in My Dying Bride.
Yeah, it's a responsibility, so it's something that makes you comfortable.
Yeah, we can't blame anyone else if it goes wrong.
And you stated that The Ghost of Orion is at the same time heavy as hell, miserable as hell, yet easier on the ear. What can you tell us about the genesis, the evolution, and the actual recording of the album?
Yeah, the reason why we think it's more accessible is because in the past we would write fairly technical riffs, and the timing of the riffs would be quite unusual. We would play a riff 5.5 times, then change it, and then play the next riff 7.5 times. And that's quite awkward sometimes, and makes some songs quite difficult to listen to. For this album, we decided, if you've got a great riff, play it 4 times, and when it feels like the natural time to change, let's change into another great riff. and play that as many times as it feels natural, and then change into another great riff. So keeping the structure of the song more simplified, and because we've simplified it, it makes it more accessible. Simple as that. But it's only really, when I say accessible, it is for My Dying Bride. If you dragged the average Iron Maiden fan off the street and said, here, listen to this, they're probably still going to struggle to really enjoy it, because it's still not really normal heavy metal music.
Yeah.
We'll always be a cult band, even if we push the accessibility a little bit further on the next album. It's still really heavy, miserable, melancholic music, and a lot of people just don't like that. They want their metal, they want their rock to be fun. They want to be fist punching and head banging and having a great time with their mates. They don't want My Dying Bride coming along and weeping all over them. But that's what we do, and the album took a long time to do. It was 5 years, really, because the previous one, Feel the Misery, came out 5 years ago. But there was hurdles and obstacles in the way, which we found a way around, and finally hit the studio and began recording. And it was a very slow process, but that allowed us to look at the songs we'd finished, see if there were areas that could be improved upon, and make them better. So plenty of time to do all that. Make all your corrections if you need to, and when the production is finished, double check the production sounds fantastic. And everything came together wonderfully, and the album came out, and we're very happy with it.
Yeah, and a blank page and a glass of wine could be the starting point of something that could be used on a My Dying Bride album. Tell us something about the lyrical aspect of The Ghost of Orion.
Yeah, the writing is something I've always been very passionate about. And you sometimes sit down and you listen to the music and you think, okay, I am about to start writing the lyrics for the next My Dying Bride song. And you start writing, and sometimes the feeling, the vibe isn't quite right. So I turn the music off, but I continue to write and end up writing a poem maybe, or a short story. So it's not time wasted. And I will put that to one side, and I will try again on a different day when you're sort of in the zone. And that's the way the writing process works. And sometimes I'll listen to the music and I'll think, now hang on, I've got an idea already written that might work with this piece of music. And then I've got to find it then in all this paperwork, and I find a little poem I wrote, and I'm reading the words and I'm listening to the music, and I think, yeah, this can work. With the addition of a few more lyrics, this can be a song. So sometimes I intend to write lyrics and it turns into a poem. Sometimes, poems become lyrics, and there's no real set formula, which is quite nice. I don't set that many rules. You just write in a passionate way with your heart, and you just have to go with the flow. And sometimes it's difficult, because if you're writing very personal lyrics, you think to yourself, should I be writing this because I'm exposing a sensitive part of my life, and thousands of people are going to read these lyrics and listen to this song? But I sometimes go for it, and sometimes I pull back. And on The Ghost of Orion, the song Tired of Tears was based around the recent fear of losing my daughter to cancer. Yeah. And that was a major part of my life. But I couldn't fill the whole album with that subject matter, because I would have hated the album and I would never want to listen to it, because it would remind me of that time, and I would never sing any of the songs live. But I had to write something, because it's such a massive part of my life that I have to write about it. So on The Ghost of Orion, there is one song concerning that, and then there's other songs about religion and love and hate and death and those sort of subjects. And on the next album, there will probably be a song that's influenced by, these terrible times that I've been through. But I'll just touch on it once or twice. I'm not going to ram it in people's faces. I don't want to. Sometimes I need to speak about it, and sometimes I don't. And I think there was enough on the Ghost of Orion. One song is fine. I'm never going to play that song live. Um, they'll have to get a new singer to sing that song live. If all the fans want it, then somebody else is going to have to sing it because it's not going to be me.
And how do you feel about the historical label change from E.Vil Records to Nuclear Blast?
Yeah, we didn't expect to be changing labels, but we realised we'd been okay on E.Vil year after year after year. Things were fine. And it got to a point where we were thinking, surely there must be more. There must be more than just fine. Excuse me. So when the contract with E.Vil ended, we looked around at some other labels, and Nuclear Blast were doing big things. You know, they are a big mover in the music business. And they sent us a contract, and it was a good contract. So we thought, okay, this is a big step for us. We are going to say goodbye to the label we've been with for 2 decades, and 2.5 decades even, and sign with someone who we don't even know. But because Nuclear Blast were bigger and we wanted more, we thought My Dying Bride could still be elevated in the world. And Nuclear Blast seemed to be the label that would be able to do that for us. Because we're still hungry, you know, we've still got things to say, things to do. Andrew's already writing the next album. You know, we've got an EP coming out later this year. We've got things to say and do. And I think E.Vil, they did everything they could for us, and we love them to bits. And we're still in touch, remaining friends forever with those guys. But we needed more, and we needed someone to carry us further. And so we've moved to someone, I think, who can do that.
Which are your best and worst memories of, you know, performing and recording in the 90s?
Oh, that was a long time ago, you know. Some of our fans weren't even born then.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't had that many bad times. You know, recordings have gone okay. In fact, the Ghost of Orion was the hardest thing we've ever recorded. But previous to that, you know, gigs have gone okay, apart from, you know, the odd technical hitches. In fact, when we played with Iron Maiden in Italy, I think it was Rome, 1995. Obviously, the Italian fans, they were not interested in My Dying Bride. They just wanted Iron Maiden. So the crowd threw everything they could at us on stage. But we just carried on, you know. On the very first song, I got hit on the head with a coin, and my head was bleeding. And we just carried on, and it just looked very rock and roll, having blood pouring down my head during the set. And I just thought, yeah, I don't care. We're just going to still play our songs. And it doesn't affect my relationship with Italy whatsoever. Our tour manager is Italian. The whole band have been to Italy on a holiday. So that, in fact, yeah. So my worst gig was in Italy.
Yeah, that was the ignorance of some fans.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's. When I went to see big metal bands when I was a kid, you don't care who the support band is. You just want to see the main band. But at least I didn't throw anything at the support band. But it happens. It is what it is. We've moved on. But yeah, not many. We're lucky. Not many bad times and plenty of good times.
What kind of music do you like to listen to when you're not busy with My Dying Bride?
I do like Chelsea Wolfe and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And you'll notice both of those artists are very melancholic artists, very somber. I like somber music. Dead Can Dance. I find these to be relaxing. And some people might think, well, they're very depressing. But not for me. I find this music uplifting, which is why I've chosen to play Doom in my band, because it's not as depressing as you think it is. When I listen to Nick Cave's songs, even the saddest songs, when they finish, you kind of take a deep breath and you stand up and you stretch, and then you start to realise the world isn't as bad as that. The world is better than that, and it makes me feel good. But then on the other side of it, I'm quite getting into... I'm a latecomer to punk. I've just recently discovered the Ramones, which is crazy. They're all dead now, but I like the Ramones, you know, and that's a bit of fun. And I've been to some... I quite like... There's a movement called psychobilly,
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
quite like some of the psychobilly bands that are out there. It's just a little bit of a change. It's very exciting, very strange music, but the live shows are fantastic. So we just seen a band called Deranged Argo, and they were wonderful. So
Demented Argo.
yeah,
They're
crazy band.
crazy. They're very crazy.
Yeah, I like somber music and I like exciting music.
Do you have one final message and greeting to the Italian fans of My Dying Bride? Not the ones who threw the coins back in '95.
Well, obviously, we will be returning to Italy. When you have an Italian tour manager, we are definitely returning to Italy. But yeah, I don't know when. You know, we've had 3 years since we last played live, and we are doing some summer festivals, which may get cancelled. We don't know yet. But we are working on our own My Dying Bride headlining tour. And hopefully, I haven't seen the dates yet because they're not confirmed, but hopefully Italy will be there. But obviously, because of what's going on at the moment with the coronavirus,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to happen this year. But we wanted this year to be a quiet year. You know, we're not going to come back screaming and shouting and say, look at us, look at us. We've been away and now we're back. We're going to come back gently, do 5 or 6 shows this year. But 2021, that I think will be the much busier year. More people have heard the album and we will have been more prepared to play live again. Hopefully the coronavirus will have disappeared by then. So yeah, this year a little bit quiet, but 2021 should see us much more on the road.